to MMA Fancast. My name is Luke Payson. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel so you can see more great interviews like the one we got coming to you right now. And if you already are subscribed, welcome back to you as we welcome the newly minted Class 6, which is the largest classification of high schools in the Commonwealth of Virginia, state champion Kross Cassidy. Kross, champ, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on. I'm really happy to be here.
It's great. I had you on the show, I think maybe a year ago. You're a sophomore now in high school. Last time you were on the show, we were talking about, I think you'd been named MVP or most like best wrestler in some tournament or something. But now
Yeah.
you are as a state champ. Before we dive into the tournament itself, which we will get to, you won for Fairfax High School in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Just overall, what does it feel like being a week and a half removed from being a state champ as a young state champ since you're a sophomore?
It's great. I mean, I love the environment here. The coaches, as soon as I moved, they made it feel like home. It's like amazing. My teammates are great. They really pushed me through those like couple weeks I've been here, and they made it a lot of fun.
And I've seen him post on Facebook, what's your head coach or a couple of the coaches' name? I think your head coach is a pretty well-known wrestler. So talk just a little bit about him.
Yeah, we have like two head coaches. It's Coach Tion, Anthony. He was a D1 blood round guy. He's a very good wrestler. And Leo Quezada. He was a D1 wrestler at George Mason. And we have, I think, an assistant coach, Coach Marsh. And he's like a BJJ guy, and he's really, really good. But they've been so great to me. Like, they made it really like an easy transition here.
Well, I'm glad your transition to Fairfax High School went so well. Obviously, that's a lot to deal with for anybody, particularly an elite wrestler like yourself. Because this is primarily an MMA channel, you said the initial BJJ. Do you have a BJJ coach that kind of translates some BJJ moves into wrestling? Because obviously, I know you can't finish submissions that are legal in BJJ. Is it sort of a BJJ infused wrestling style?
He teaches a little stuff that is, but not. I mean, I've only been here for a couple weeks, but I don't really know the whole like thing with him. But he definitely teaches some good stuff. He knows his stuff, and he's a very good coach.
Well, that's very cool. Hats off to all of your training partners. And obviously, you had looked like a teammate made it to states to the championship round, finished second. You finished first in 197, I believe.
He was a 215, but
215.
we had a couple kids. We had a couple kids make the states. We have Micah Gillespie, Ollie, and Harry. Harry's the 215. He got second this year. He did very good this season as a sophomore also. He got third at NHSCA. And we had this littler kid. He's like a 120 pounder, I think. His name's Roman. Roman.
Well, Roman, very, very cool to him. Little to you, you're at 157 or 154.
Yeah, I'm at 157, but I weighed in really light like every single day. I was 5 pounds under every weigh-in.
Well, that actually is kind of a cool thing for us to talk about. Does that mean that next year when you're a junior, because obviously you're growing? I mean, I met you a couple of years back when your brother, who was a state champ previously in his career, now is wrestling Division I at George Mason, and you were a lot smaller, right? Because you went through your growth spurt. Now you're much bigger. Do you think next year you'll be wrestling at 57, given the fact that you were underweight, or are you going to be up in the next weight class for next year? Or is it too early to tell?
Honestly, I think I'll probably grow a little bit. I like being like heavier, and it kind of like translates to my wrestling. Like my freshman year, I definitely cut like a good bit. And it definitely affected my wrestling with me like just focusing on cutting weight during the whole practice instead of just getting better. And this year I've like really jumped levels by just wrestling up in weight and getting better instead of worrying about my weight all the time. And that's honestly coming from my brother and a bunch of other D1 college wrestlers.
Well, that makes perfect sense. Way to take the advice of D1 wrestler and your brother, Caden Kross, who I got to interview before his so far one and only MMA fight, as he's focused primarily on Division One wrestling. That makes a lot of sense, though. I know your mom had posted up on Facebook when you were in the tournament, the state tournament, that your first match was against a heavier kid, which makes sense given the fact that you were giving up weight and he was cutting weight. But it also makes sense that in your 3 matches, you didn't have to worry about cutting weight, over, because you do have to make weight over and over again, right? In state tournament,
Yeah, you have to make it for Virginia. It's 2 days.
2 days.
For PA, it's 3.
So I can see the advantage, even though you're giving up some weight, you're getting the fact that you're not recutting multiple days in a row. So let's get
Yeah.
to the Virginia State tournament. That was about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago now, which is fantastic. You had 3 matches. You obviously won all of them because you have to in order to win the state. But let's talk through the first match. What was that like? How did you win? I think you had a fall somewhere in the tournament. So how did that match go? What was it like in there for you?
Going into the state tournament, I obviously I weighed in 5 pounds under, but I was like kind of nervous. I've never been like nervous for like my first match, but I got a good warm up in with a coach and a lot of my teammates. But as soon as I stepped on the mat, all my nerves kind of went away, and I wrestled this kid, and I took him down, and I toted him. I think twice I toted him, and then I pinned him. And then as soon as I got my hand raised, I just like everything went away. So it was pretty good,
And
pretty good
that's a
experience.
and that's also a great start to the tournament. I mean, you'll take a win even if it has to be riding time in OT, but clearly, to have a grueling match first out can kind of change the outcome of the tournament. Great that you had a pin in the first period.
Yeah,
Fantastic. Now move to the your second opponent in the tournament. Obviously, you're coming off that, like you said, you felt great coming off that 2 tilts and a quick fall. So, what was the second match like for you?
the second match we had a good game plan for this kid. He was pretty like an upper body wrestler. Like he was trying to throw me probably, and he was actually a pretty good wrestler. I took him down late in the period because we got stuck in like a funky position. But other than that, like I took him down and then I rode him for like the rest of the period because his plan was basically I can give up takedowns. I don't want to give up a bunch of turns on top. So my plan was if I can take him down, turn him once, I'm just gonna let him up and then take him down again. And that's basically my plan worked out pretty good. And then I beat him 15-2.
Did it go to completion, or was it considered a tech fall before time ran
It
out?
went to completion, so it was major decision. But
Gotcha. Major decision. Because I know you were right on the border of a tech fall. What's the spread for a tech fall? You were 13 points up. What's a tech fall?
so a tech fall is 15 points. So see,
Okay.
I beat that kid 17-2. That's a tech fall.
Okay. Okay. But in this case, you were 15-2, which is 13 points. Gotcha. Thanks for I knew you were right in that you were getting close to a tech fall. Okay, so at this point, you've had a pin in the first period, a major decision that was pretty close, just 2 points away from a tech fall in your second match, which is pretty fantastic. So was that your 2 matches on the first day? Did you then go to
Yeah,
sleep? Okay.
those were the 2 of the first day.
So what was it like going to sleep knowing that you were absolutely positively gonna be wrestling for a state title the next day?
It was great. I mean, it was definitely a change. I
Yeah.
was like, wow, I know this experience before. It's in PA. I got second before, and I kind of just let things fly, let things just go, and just flow with like everything I do, and trust my practice and like all the work I put in. So that definitely helped. Like I think the cutting weight thing definitely affected me last year. So that was definitely the biggest change this year. It really affected my wrestling, especially in the open I just went to, the college open. That was great.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the college open here in a second because you went 3 wins, 1 loss against some Division I guys. And I mean, again, even though you're a big, strong 154 pounder, you're only 15 years old. You're a sophomore in high
Yeah.
school, so it's pretty impressive. So let's talk about the state championship itself. Who was your opponent? Because obviously he's now silver and you're gold. So who was your opponent? What did you know about him, and how did the game plan play out in your title?
Actually, I had a semis match before that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you
Oh,
said
you're
three
good.
matches. No, no, go for it. I thought you said 3 matches. So it was 3 matches to get to the title, 4 overall to win.
Yeah, I actually didn't wrestle my finals match because my kid had to injury default. I'll get to that
Take it
after the
away,
semis.
Cross. Sorry about that, pal.
Oh,
Take
you're
it away.
good. So my semis match, I had a kid named Keegan Padot. He was ranked in the state, I think, fourth, and he was a pretty tough opponent. He was from Battlefield High School, and I took him down in like 20 seconds, and then I tilted him, and I tilted him again, and then I pinned him in a tilt. So
Oh, that might have been the one. I think that was the one that your mom wrote about. Because I remember you won by a pin, and I think she was saying something about semis on Facebook. So that would make sense.
yeah,
2 tilts. So it seems like the style of your wrestling is you really survive, like you really shoot for the tilts. I mean, in
yeah,
all
so
three
that's
of
a
your
big
matches,
factor.
that's your big factor because you had 2 tilts and a fall in your first, multiple tilts, obviously, just sort of endless in the second one since you got so many points and no fall, and in the third one, 2 tilts and a fall. So at that point, were you still thinking you were going to wrestle for the championship? When did you know that the runner up was DQ'd out because of an injury?
Yeah, so basically, I knew like right after my match because I was like really hype after my match. Like I was ready. I was ready to like wrestle the finals against this kid named Ben Weeder. He we we definitely know him because he's ranked in the country
Hmm.
and he was a really tough opponent. And he actually was wrestling the Lake Braddock kid I teched earlier in the season and pinned it earlier in the season. And Weeder was up, I want to say 10-5, 10-4 on the kid, and he went to take him down, and they called it an illegal slam, but I'm gonna hold my opinion to that. And it probably shouldn't have been that like a legal slam. And the Lake Braddock kid injury defaulted, and Ben Weeder had to lose the match because of that.
Oh.
So basically, the injury or the Lake Braddock kid I beat earlier in the season had to injury default the finals because he hurt his shoulder.
Gotcha. Okay. So that actually explains it. I saw your mom post a really nice picture of you on the top of the podium holding your medal and the chart, your whole the
Yeah,
whole layout, which was really cool. And I saw immediately that the second place guy was in a shoulder sling. And so I didn't know if that happened I figured it happened in your championship. So third place was the guy that you thought you would likely be wrestling, but then obviously with the DQ, he moved to third place. Second place ended up not being able to compete against you. Okay, so after that was all clear, and once you were told by somebody official that you had officially won, what was that feeling like?
I mean, it definitely didn't feel like a state title. Honestly,
Uh,
it felt surreal, but like there's also still yet like more to prove. And I wish I would have had a match in the finals because that would have really secured like that Virginia state title, and like it would have been my first state title. So I was kind of like sad that I didn't get like to wrestle in my state finals match for my first time.
Gotcha. And I think, in a way, if you were a senior and didn't have the opportunity to come back, I know your brother won his state title as a senior during COVID, of all things. I think that would probably bother you more. But the nice part is you still have a junior and senior, campaign ahead of you. So hopefully there will be multiple times where you are wrestling in a finals, which makes perfect sense that that's something you wish you have. Let's get to the College Open last week. So a week removed from your state title, you did the College Open. You went 3-1. Explain to us, what is the College Open? It allows high school students to wrestle against D1. Like, how did that work out? What is the College Open, and how was it like for you?
So basically, the college opens are a new thing for high school kids, where they can basically wrestle in a D1 college tournament. It can also be D2 kids in it, but it was all D1, I think, this week. And it was basically their last chance open to get their win percentage up for max and like NCAAs. But basically, there's a lot of high school kids, like the high level high school kids, are going to these college opens to get better. Like you see Marcus Blaze, that kid was a high school kid. I think he was like a junior maybe, and he just beat early in the year. I think he beat Matt Ramos, the number one kid in the like nation right now for college, which was crazy. But basically, it was like a round robin of 4 kids or 3 kids maybe, and or no, it was 4. And I had the Buffalo kid first, and so basically my mindset going in that match was just let it fly. Like, these are college kids,
Yeah.
and that's the best way I wrestle. And I took him down in the first period, and then I turned him on top, and basically ended the period 8-0. And then I started the second period on top again, and I tilted him. Or no, I started in neutral. I took him down and then crab righted him into a pin. So that was definitely a nice win right there.
And was that your first official win against a Division I collegiate athlete? I would think it is, right? Because you don't get to wrestle
No,
open.
I went earlier in the year
Okay.
to another open, and I beat Maryland kid named Fisk, I think. He's pretty good in high school.
Gotcha. So it wasn't, so wrestling D1 uh opponents was not necessarily new to you, but that still's got to be pretty special. What was it like once you walked off the mats and you had just pinned a Division I athlete after just winning all of your you won 3 of your uh state title by 2 by fall and 1 by major decisions. What did that feel like coming off after you pinned the Buffalo guy?
It was great knowing that I'm like that good, like high level to wrestle him. It's amazing. Like, wrestling those better guys, I feel like I do better against them. And then I wrestled the Lockhaven guy, and that kid was definitely really tough. He was the starter earlier in the season, and he actually beat me that day. And he took me down in the first period with 20 seconds left, and then I chose bottom the second period. I got up, and then I took him down, and he got out and started the third. He chose, or I chose bottom, or he made it chose top. I don't even know. And he actually pinned me, but I tried something to out in desperation of scoring points to win the match, but it didn't work.
Well, hey, I mean, in a
But then
way,
I wrestled his teammate the next match.
okay.
Yeah, but then I wrestled his teammate the next match from it was another PA kid. So I actually beat him 11-3, and that's Chase Burke from Benton. He was pretty good. But then I had the Binghamton kid, and I beat him 8-4.
And was that for third place in your weight class? Because at that point you would have been in the consolation, right?
I got second because it's a round robin since I beat everybody
Oh, you
except for that
did
one
say
kid.
round robin. Not okay. So
Oh,
round
you're
robin.
good.
Yeah. The wrestling stuff. Yeah. Okay. So you got overall second because round robin just looks at your overall record, right? So 3
Yeah.
wins, 1 loss meant you were second place versus the guy who was 4-0. Gotcha. Okay.
That Binghamton kid was a 6-year kid, and he was a starter this year.
Okay.
He was tough.
Well, I think it makes it makes a lot of sense that you challenge yourself, even when you were down in that match and you went for kind of like you said, a risky move to try to score points and try to win. I mean, that's what you've got coaches for, but it seems like that's the type of thing that's going to help you get better. You're there to learn. So trying something against the best of the best means that, yeah, you might come up short, you might end up getting pinned, but you also are learning stuff that's going to help when you continue wrestling high school. As far as high school goes, are you finished? Or is there any type of national tournament? Is there any type of best of the best since you're a state champ? Or is there anything left in high school? Or are you waiting now until the next season as far as high school goes?
So now that I don't play football, it's kind of nice. So I can honestly, I might wrestle in this national tournament.
Hmm.
I think it's for my age group,
Sure.
but it's in Iowa. That's a really, really big tournament. And then later in April, I think I have NHSCA that I got third in last year. That's sophomore nationals for all the sophomores, and that's how they like. It's a really big tournament where a lot of college coaches go to.
Wow. Okay. So you have that tournament for sure you're doing, which is the best. I remember you doing one, the best of freshmen last year. So you're doing the best of sophomore tournament and then possibly sort of a national ranked, almost like the best of the state champs out in Iowa, maybe. But that's obviously you're a high school student first. So there's a lot to balance and make work in your life. But it's just incredible to see the progress you're making. Shout out to your brother who's still wrestling Division One at George Mason, and all of the Cassidys. Your parents are super involved and very active also in the MMA world, which is how I first got connected you guys through your dad's coaching at Gorilla House. So just incredible stuff overall. I really appreciate you coming on. You're only the third state champ to ever come on MMA Fancast, so I appreciate that. Your brother was the first. Gavin Teasdale was the second. You're the third. That's great company right there. That is great company to be only the third state champ to ever come on MMA Fancast. I'm honored to have had you on. I'm thrilled to continue to follow your not only high school career, but also to see what's after high school, because clearly you're already making waves collegiately when you can pin somebody at the Division One level. So congratulations to everything that's going on for you. It sounds like you not only found the right coaches, but also the right mindset to be able to wrestle at a weight class where you have some pounds that you're not stressed about the weight. And I would imagine that as you continue to grow and develop, you're probably going to move up weight classes in order to continue to have sort of what's working for you. So can't wait to see how that all goes for you. Would love to have you back on in the future. Thanks again so much. You are one of the busiest high school students there can possibly be with your school and then all the wrestling you're doing. So thanks for squeezing me in, and best skills to you going forward. You've been listening to Luke Basin from MMA Fancast with state champ Kross Cassidy. Thanks so much, Kross.
Thank you guys for having me on. I'll for sure be back on.
Can't wait to have you back on. You take care. Best wishes to your parents as well. Your mom's such a great lady. So hi to everybody and take care.
Same to you.
You got it.